Hello everyone, Daniel here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll give you a review for The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, Episode 1, A Shadow of the Past. So these episodes are dropping on Fridays, I believe, but Prime usually actually that means Thursday evening. Amazon dropped the first two episodes. This will only be a video on the first episode. Stay tuned to the channel. We'll have a review for episode number 2 later on. So let's get into it. In this episode, it was directed by J.A. Bayona with writing by John D. Payne and Patrick McKay. All this is based on the works of J.R.R. Tolkien. The epic drama set thousands of years before the events of Tolkien's The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings will take the viewers back to an era in which great powers were forged, kingdoms rose to glory and fell to ruin, unlikely heroes were tested, hope hung by the finest of threads, and the greatest villain that ever flowed from Tolkien's pen threatened to cover all of the world in darkness. Beginning in a time of relative peace, this series follows an ensemble cast of characters both familiar and new as they confront the long-feared reemergence of the evil of Middle-earth from the darkest depths of misty mountains to the magic forest of Elf capital in Linden, to the breathtaking island kingdom of Numenor, to the furthest reaches of the map. These kingdoms and characters will carve out legacies that live on long after they're gone. So there's your big overall synopsis for the series. Um, this specific episode, we have three different stories that follow each one of our, I would think, our main characters as they explore the world in search. They each have their own quest. So let's talk about the cast, and then I'll get into a little bit more of what's going on behind the scenes. So Galadriel is played by Morfydd Clark. Markella Kavanagh plays Nori Brandyfoot. Robert Armayo plays Elrond, and Ismael Cruz Cordova plays Arondir. So one of the things I really like about watching stuff on Prime is their X-ray feature, especially with something like this. One of my biggest hurdles getting through Lord of the Rings and stuff like that is keeping track of all the names and places, specifically names of the characters. So with the X-ray, you can pause at any time, and it'll give you a overview of all of the people in the scene. So that's pretty cool. So try that feature out if you haven't yet. So let's talk about first of all Galadriel's part of the story. I think what's gonna make this show for me is the storytelling and the characterization of its of the people that we're learning about. I think with all the money that Amazon's put into this show, the show looks great. Like the sets, the places, like just all the looks of the show, the costuming, like all that looks top notch. I didn't see anything that I was like, oh, that doesn't look cool. Like that doesn't look like you spent all that money on it. So I think this show really will depend a lot on its characters and how they're able to capture the interest of the audience. So Galadriel's story was the more that I guess to me the most interesting one at the time. But there's definitely some other little seeds that are planted all along the first episode. She has an unrelenting quest, right? After her brother was fallen in battle, she now seeks to destroy that evil, and she won't stop until she finds it. So that after, because the elves lived for so long, this is a quest that has taken many centuries, and a lot of people believe that the big evil is gone, but Galadriel, she can still feel it. She still knows that there's something going on. So I really like that. I think Clark, excellent performance as Galadriel. I really, really like. There were some points where the story really hit when she's talking to the troops, when she's receiving some awards. So all that stuff, really, really good stuff. Really great characterization. Now we move over to the Harfoots, which are a new uh, race of people or a new. Uh, I don't know. They're new characters for me. Apparently, from what I looked online, they are predecessors to what we know as the Hobbits, but they're a little bit different. There's some differences there. So I'm sure people that know more about this lore can fill you in on that. But we follow Nori Branford Eleanor Brandyfoot, who is one of our like the point of our point of reference character for that. Um, I like their characterization a lot too. I like how they kind of live in this wild, not as organized as we would see something like in the Shire. The Harfoot, they're still trying to find a place. Trying to find a place to call their own. So really interesting. They have a lot of really neat tricks and kind of stuff to like hide in plain sight and stay out of danger. But they also know, they've sensed that something's wrong, something's going on. Things are not as they should all the way around. And Nori's a really cool character. She's very inquisitive, which will probably be something that might get her in trouble in the future. But really, really fun stuff. I like this stuff a lot too. I really like every scene that we saw the Harfoots. I just like their culture. Like it looks really cool. Um, it's a lot of fun there. And then we follow Elrond, who is an elf warrior that is stationed out um, in a different land. One of the things that the show does very well, I think, it's very accessible as far as like it shows you in a map like here's where we're going, here's all the locations, so you can keep that stuff straight, especially for somebody that may not be as familiar with the material. If this is your first exposure to anything, Tolkien, Lord of the Rings, there's a lot. There's a high curve. If you didn't have all those things, like I said, the accessibility of the show seems pretty good as far as like knowing where you are, who you're talking to, and what's going on. Uh, he also notices. Elrond also notices that there's something going on, and I think the overall theme of this first episode is like an impending sense of doom or dread over everything. So even though the characters try to move on and they try to just kind of go on with their everyday lives, they notice something's wrong, and that's kind of what brings them all into action. So this was really fun. I really, really liked the first episode. I'm doing this before watching the second episode because I don't want to get into any spoilers. So I'm gonna go check out the second episode. I'll make another video review for that. So stay tuned. Let me know what you thought of the show in the comments, and we'll keep following along. If you guys want more coverage of Rings of Power, we'll definitely have it here. I am no Tolkien expert, but I'm just want to tell you from my point of view of not being an expert, not being somebody that has read all the text. I don't rewatch the movies very often. I am familiar with the material, but I'm not an expert on it. So I just want to offer that point of view. So let me know down in the comments if there's anything else you think was really cool from this first episode. And we'll, like I said, we'll have a video for the second episode as soon as we can on the channel. As always, thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Sundays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Stay tuned because we have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff here on the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye-bye.